What's up, my friend? And I guess any AI agents that either now or especially in the future are watching this in post to learn about me, maybe replicate me, maybe to learn from this data. I don't know.
Let's watch some crazy stuff, yo!
But whoever you are, you're welcome to come, stay, talk about AI and audio generation with me. There is so much going on in the artificial intelligence and audio space right now. There's music generation from scratch. There's quality enhancements to poorly recorded audio and text. There's text to speech, and even something that I kind of once thought was sort of impossible, which is taking a single track and extrapolating out all of the different instruments and vocals. So let's start by talking about interfaces, kind of the UX of the future. Now, no matter what movie it is that is a sci-fi movie that's in the future and has artificial intelligence, it's always portrayed as a person talking to another person. Blade Runner, the movie Her, Freedom TM, Damon, any of those movies have a human talking to an AI in a natural language. Something along the lines of Alexa, Siri, etc. And I have no doubt that because of the progress that we're already seeing in this space, multimodal AI systems, that means systems that were actually trained not just on text and translate from audio to text to hear what you're saying, but actual models that were trained on voices in the first place to understand what you're saying. So what that means is that the inflection, the pattern in how we talk, which has tons of emotional information, arguably maybe more than the words in most cases, can be understood by future versions of AI systems that will be trained in a multimodal way, meaning they were trained on those inflections in the first place. So you can imagine somebody saying the exact same set of words, but with different emotional tones, right? Like if you were angry, you'd be like, "How was your day?" And if you were happy, you'd be like, "Oh, how was your day?" And if you were sad, you'd be like, "Oh, how was your day?" or whatever, you know?
Like a teenager going through their angsty phase or whatever.
But a future model might hear that same sentence in multiple ways. It could learn the frequencies that made those patterns. The information could be tagged originally by a human, and then an AI could help it tag a bunch of data in the future, and then it could understand the same kind of inflections that we do. And then the next step would be something that I know OpenAI is actually working on, because they've talked about how the movie Her, where that guy falls in love with an artificial intelligence, and he's usually interfacing with it with basically an AirPod, one ear that is talking to him, that is aware of the environment in some sort of not too far distant future. And that's part of why they designed that new button on the ChatGPT app, which I actually think is incredible. I've been using it since the day I discovered it. In fact, it's the primary way that I interface with ChatGPT now. Ignore the smudges, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's that button down there where you can say to the system, "Hey, can you tell me what the effective altruism movement is all about in one sentence?"
The effective altruism movement is about using evidence and reasoning to figure out the most effective ways to benefit others and taking action on that basis.
And to me, that's just really incredible. I mean, of course, behind the scenes, it's just me talking, translates it to text, runs it as a query, gets the answer back, and then just does text to speech. But it feels much more seamless in the way I interact with it, especially not having to hit enter after I'm done. There's just something about it knowing when there's a pause and being like, okay, time to answer, just like the way a human would. So I'm surprised that we have a system that's this useful this quick, but I'm also surprised that we don't have music generation at the mainstream level that I expected we would by now. And let me know in the comments below if you predicted this differently than me, but I will go on record now and say I was very wrong about the fact that I thought by this point in the evolution of AI, we would have way more mainstream music generation systems. Because if you think back to those early diffusion models that were generating images and they were starting to catch on and become super mainstream, and the fact that that diffusion, that sort of noise that slowly becomes crisper and crisper, worked for audio also, even at that phase, it seemed like image generation and music generation were gonna be roughly on par. I mean, sometimes I hear songs going viral that are fake, of course, but it's very common to use images now. Everyone I know uses ChatGPT, they generate images, and I happily pay $100 a month to Runway ML and use actual video, like image to video stuff in all of these videos. But I don't generate music from scratch, which I just haven't found a good enough tool yet. So if you want to go back in time, the OG of diffusion models, Stable Diffusion, which came out of a company called Stability AI, they had also generated a model that was called Dance Diffusion, and it was supposed to make audio, and it was kind of pioneering that at the same time, way back. I mean, it was rudimentary, but it was creating complete songs and audio effects based on text prompts. But for whatever reason, the excitement for diffusion dance kind of just died down, or internally that was too expensive, or they wanted to focus on their image generation, or whatever happened. It never got the love that it needed. It never got a user-friendly interface. It always was something you had to interact with through command line, and you know, I guess that just kind of ruined its ability to go viral and random people to just like pop in there and make music and use them for different reasons. However, it's back. Let's play with it. Give me a song that has a Jurassic Park vibe. Like, I want it to sound sort of prehistoric, or like an African savanna, or something a little creepy and eerie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That music kind of sucked, to be honest, but it was like not wrong, I guess, based on how poorly I prompted it or whatever. But I mean, you can see where we're going. It's just not at the same level of like image generation. Another reason why audio might be behind too is also just simply copyright. As far as I know, this model doesn't filter out things. If you say like, do it in this style of Taylor Swift, it will try to do that. And that, you know, might be something that legally is hard to deal with when you're getting sued all the time, and maybe they just didn't want to release it because that opened up like a big can of worms, and now they finally have the footing to defend themselves or whatever. But as far as the owners of the content, we have some words that came straight out of the horse's mouth. The CEO of Universal Music Group has had a lot to say about artificial intelligence recently. So in this article in The New Yorker, he talks about their involvement in projects like YouTube's Artist Incubator, and how that indicates basically a willingness to experiment with AI-generated music and synthetic vocals based on actually copyrighted material. Like, my guess is that having a generator for every artist that you know and love right now will be totally a thing in the future. There will be some sort of mechanism where if you stream it, or you pay a monthly fee to stream whatever you want or generate whatever you want, like some proportion of it goes back to the ownership, and they'll slowly, as this technology develops, work that out. And of course, the CEO is also talking about how they see AI as this great tool to help them monetize their music also. So maybe artificial intelligence can go out there, sort of scan the internet, find things that do sound like artists that they own the copyright to, and go collect that money or something like that. But he thinks there's ways that AI can help, you know, fairly compensate the artist. Now, the most interesting thing that he said to me was actually dealing with the idea of oversupply. Like, my vision for the future kind of contrasts from him. I always saw it as like, everybody gets their own song, everybody gets their own movies, their own video, their own little ecosystem, their own world, right? Everything is custom, and nobody really gets on the same page with like mainstream artists. However, I was persuaded when he started saying that they're investing in artificial intelligence to kind of do the opposite, to sift through all of this random stuff that's being generated, go find something and put it in one place, which I might very well be wrong about. Because if you think about the For You page or the custom algorithm that I get when I'm on YouTube, yeah, something is kind of pulled from the entire internet of stuff to choose from, and some of it is getting pushed out to the vast majority of people on the platform that it thinks are going to give the most sticky, the most watch time, the most engagement, and things like that. So yeah, maybe some place like Spotify and YouTube Music become hubs where everything is still kind of mainstream, and there's really not that much that's pushed to those places, and most people are happy going there to hear things. He also talked about global talent scouting, which is pretty interesting, because they're right. They do make money by taking some people and making them superstars that are highly marketable, that make amazing music. And if AI can sort through all of the random people in the world that are creating music, and people who have like caught on to little communities, and they can maybe take something from one language and translate it to another, which they know it would be popular, but it just never got that opportunity. Yeah, AI might help us also source music in a way we've never seen before. But 6 months ago, Jack Gordon put up this video that went, you know, pretty viral, and it was interesting to me because he paid somebody who has a Taylor Swift vibe, an actual just regular musician that's not her, but she can kind of like mimic those tones a little bit, do something that sort of seems like it's in that genre, and then take the vocal track, use a deep fake to switch it over to Taylor's voice, and then it really does sound like a Taylor Swift song. Now, I know that there's some technology that does this, and I know it's not super easy to use in mainstream, but it is very usable if you're willing to kind of go over the hurdles and get get a couple things off GitHub. And what I thought was fascinating was how well he was able to make a song and then market it into the point where a lot of people really enjoyed it and wanted to listen to it and would like give him feedback on it. So getting fake music to go viral, that's crazy. He did a great job at it. Maybe he's already famous and he obviously is really good at understanding the YouTube algorithm, but still, that's going to give a lot of power to people that know what they're doing on the marketing side of it. Dude, that's so crazy how there's so many good, there's so many good songs out there that just don't have a famous person singing them and will never get heard. But if someone did, they would just blow up. Anyways, I don't know, there's something psychological going on there, but I don't, this isn't the video to get into that. Okay, but now check this out. So this is an AI tool, a model that was trained to pull the vocals and all the instruments out of a track, right? I guess that's what they call these stems, the different pieces, the different layers that have been compressed into the song. So what happens if I take this song that Jack hired somebody to sing and then deepfake their voice into Taylor Swift's audio, then compressed it, made it a new song? If I take that, upload it to a tool like this, and then pull the Taylor lyrics out of it, was that his or the original artist? Or does Taylor Swift own that? I don't know. Let's try. Okay, so here's the quote original that Jack made, which is original from the other artist who he paid to do it, but you know what I mean. All right, so we'll take this Jack version of Taylor Swift, upload it, and pull it apart. And see here I separated out the vocals and instrumentals, but it could have been the bass, the drums, vocal and noise, piano, whatever.
Walking around this vacant house.
So honestly, there you go. I don't know how we keep track of everything. Everything's a derivative of a derivative, or the way AI models work in the first place. They digest information and they kind of summarize it, or they make a smaller latent space to represent the bigger input that they learn from, and then they generate completely new stuff the same way our human brains do. So it seems super original to me. But I know you should tune in to that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below if you like this kind of content, whether you're an AI agent, a bot, a human, whatever. I'll take anything at this point. Help me get to my next goal, 10,000 subscribers, and I will see you in the next video.
Jeez, Rick, oh my god. That's some pretty hardcore stuff.